Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a garbage truck just dumping its entire load into the ocean every single minute.
Wow.
Yeah, that image, it really drives home the scale, doesn't it? We're talking about the staggering reality of plastic waste hitting our oceans each year.
It's a really sobering visual.
It is. So today on the deep dive, we're going a bit deeper than the usual headlines. We want to focus on something that's often overlooked, but honestly is critical in this whole environmental crisis: product design.
Right.
It's a key battleground where, as we'll explore, we can actually make a huge difference.
It really is. And what's so compelling about the material we're diving into today is how it cuts right to the root cause.
Yeah.
You know, shifting the focus away from just cleanup.
Which is important, but
Exactly. Important, but not the whole picture. It shifts to preventing the problem right at the source. Our main source today is a white paper from us here at Vee Technologies. It's called Product Design, Designing Products with the Voiceless Stakeholder in Mind. And it's by our senior design engineer, Reid Wissler.
Reid Wissler, yeah.
And it just offers a really powerful and I think actionable perspective.
I agree. So our mission today is really to pull out those key insights from Reid's expert view on how companies, well, how we fundamentally change the approach to product design and governance too, to tackle this urgent issue.
And it's not just theory, right? It's the kind of strategic thinking we really try to embrace in our own work here.
Exactly. So let's unpack this core idea. Reid introduces the voiceless stakeholder. Now, most companies, they get the usual stakeholders, right? You've got investors wanting returns,
Yeah.
employees wanting good jobs, customers, suppliers, maybe the local communities, government bodies. But what Reid points out is that the environment, and specifically our oceans, they're consistently the least considered, especially when it comes to plastics in product and packaging design.
They just don't have a seat at the table, so to speak.
Yeah, no voice. That's it.
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction. And the white paper really pushes us on this by looking at two main governance models.
Right.
The shareholder model versus the stakeholder model. So the shareholder model, well, as the name suggests, it's pretty much all about the financial return. Maximize profits for the investors. That's the main goal.
The bottom line.
Right. But the stakeholder model, which the white paper strongly argues for, takes a much broader view. It looks at how a business's activities actually impact multiple groups, multiple entities.
Right, a wider net.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the kind of the profound irony the paper highlights. Our oceans, they act as both a supplier, think crude oil, natural gas for plastics, and then tragically as a customer, receiving all the waste from those designs.
Wow, supplier and customer.
Yeah. So it raises this really important question, doesn't it? If we rely so much on the ocean for the raw materials, why is it so consistently ignored when we're designing things? It's a huge disconnect.
That irony is really stark when you put it like that. And when you look at the sheer scale of the problem, the plastic waste numbers in this document, it just gets even more alarming. We're talking, what, an estimated 12 to 14 million tons of plastic entering the oceans?
Annually. That's the garbage truck every minute figure right there. Continuously.
Continuously. And globally, I mean, plastic production has just soared, especially in the, 50 years since it really became commercial.
Yeah, it's exploded.
And here in the U.S., our contribution is, well, significant. We've actually tripled our plastic use since the 1980s. Tripled.
The specific U.S. data points in the paper are pretty jarring. In 2019 alone, our plastic waste was estimated at 80.5 million tons.
80.5 million.
Yeah. That breaks down to over 485 pounds per person per year, which is like 5 times more than the global average per person.
5 times. Wow.
And the projections, they're sobering. By 2060, U.S. plastic waste generation is projected to hit over 154 million tons.
It just keeps climbing.
It really underscores that exponential growth, doesn't it?
It really does. And that scale, it just highlights the huge challenges in recycling, which is another point the white paper makes, right?
Definitely.
Our recycling pace here in the U.S., it just hasn't kept up with this explosion in waste. I mean, for years, we exported a lot of plastic waste.
Right, we shipped it overseas.
But then countries like China and other Asian nations, they restricted those imports. And that put huge strain on our already struggling U.S. recycling system.
And the result?
Well, the unfortunate result is even more plastic ends up directly in our oceans.
Exactly. And once it gets into the sea, I mean, plastic sticks around for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. It just slowly breaks down into these tiny, tiny fragments. Microplastics.
The microplastics, yeah. Everyone's hearing about those now.
They're everywhere in the marine environment, contaminating the water, the ecosystems, from the surface right down to the deep sea. They're just suspended in the water column.
Making cleanup almost impossible, right? Once it's broken down that small.
Pretty much impossible once it reaches the ocean like that. And then you get these large concentrations building up in those ocean gyres, where the currents meet. That's where you get things like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
That massive swirl of trash.
Yeah, it really drives home the point. Once it's out there, getting it all back, it's virtually impossible.
And the impacts, I mean, they're devastating. The white paper goes into the awful consequences for marine life, for whole ecosystems.
That's heartbreaking stuff.
It is. It's not just the visible trash floating around. Marine animals, they mistake plastic bits for food all the time. So they eat it, they get tangled in it, they suffer internal injuries, blockages, leading to starvation and death. It's brutal.
And it's not just the animals directly, right?
No. We're seeing plastic disrupting crucial habitats too. Think coral reefs, mangroves, seagrass beds. These are vital nurseries and feeding grounds.
Absolutely essential.
And here's the part that really hits home for us directly. Seafood. It gets contaminated. Plastic particles, the toxins they absorb, they end up in the human food chain.
Potentially harming us, the consumers, at the end of that chain.
Exactly.
And this is precisely why the white paper argues so strongly for that shift in focus we mentioned. The most efficient way to fight this, it says, is root cause analysis. Find the origin.
Go upstream.
Go upstream. And often, that origin is the company's governance model. The paper really emphasizes that a stakeholder governance model is the crucial starting point. It, quoting here, establishes the framework for ensuring that all stakeholders share an equal voice.
Giving the environment that voice.
Giving the environment that voice, our voiceless stakeholder, bringing it into the decision-making right from the start. It specifically calls for doing a non-biased stakeholder impact analysis before any new product development even kicks off.
Before you even start designing.
Before you start. Which raises, an important question. Are we as rigorous, as tenacious about mitigating negative environmental impacts as we are about ensuring, say, financial returns for investors?
Good question.
The argument is that level of rigor should be equal.
That makes a lot of sense. It's really about designing the problem out, isn't it? Not just mopping up afterwards.
Precisely.
Which brings us right to the product design phase itself, specifically choosing the raw materials. The white paper really nails this, how poor material choices made right there in the design stage lead directly to products you just can't recycle.
Like what specifically?
Well, think about everyday stuff. Ziploc bags, the inner bags in cereal boxes, bubble wrap, plastic food wrap, those foam packing peanuts.
Plastic cutlery.
Plastic utensils, yeah, candy bar wrappers even. The paper lists these as examples of single-use plastic items that just aren't recyclable.
And why are they chosen?
Well, primarily, as Reid Wissler points out, it often comes down to corporate profits driving investor returns and end consumer convenience.
Convenience is a big one.
It is, but it's a pretty short-sighted approach when you stack it up against those huge long-term environmental costs, right?
Absolutely. So the alternative solutions Reid proposes are really key here. He suggests picking materials that are actually biodegradable, renewable, and genuinely recyclable. Like what kind of thing? We're talking about materials like bamboo, glass, metal, maybe beeswax paper, or even plant-based food bags. Things that break down or could be reused or properly recycled.
Okay, but are those more expensive? That's always the argument.
Yeah, and the paper addresses that. The initial cost for these materials might be higher, that's true, but it strongly argues that the aggregate long-term cost, when you factor everything in, would likely be lower.
The bigger picture costs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A point that often gets missed in those short-term financial views. And to help make that shift happen, the paper also floats the idea of tax credits.
Incentives.
Incentives, yeah. If you offer tax credits to companies for designing with truly recyclable plastics or biodegradable materials, it could help offset that initial higher cost.
Which means they might not have to pass it on to the consumer.
Right, which could prevent deterring consumers from making those more sustainable choices. It was a really fascinating argument in the paper. Recycling is crucial, yes, but prevention during governance and design, that can provide a far more significant benefit by cutting off the supply at the source.
Stop the flow, don't just catch the drips.
That's a great way to put it. Stop the flow.
And this whole idea, designing solutions from the source, making sure all stakeholders, even the voiceless ones, have a say, that's really a foundational principle for us at Vee Technologies.
It really is.
This white paper, it isn't just some standalone academic exercise. It's really a window into how we approach problem solving across so many different industries. This deep analysis of plastic waste and design, it's a perfect example of the kind of, well, deep dives our expert teams do.
Absolutely. Just like Reid's paper pushes for that upstream thinking in product design, that design from the source philosophy, it really underpins everything we do across all our services.
Right.
So for instance, in our product engineering solutions, whether we're designing a new product, doing sustaining engineering, mechanical testing, we're always looking for ways to build in efficiency, build in sustainability right from the get-go, thinking about that full life cycle impact.
And it goes beyond just physical products, right? I mean, in our IT services, we apply that same thinking, helping clients design resilient systems, efficient systems, whether it's using AI or data analytics or automation, making sure their digital foundation is solid and scalable for the long haul.
Yeah, and think about logistics too. We're constantly working with clients to optimize their supply chains, identifying those inefficiencies, finding ways to reduce their environmental footprint through smarter routing, better process automations.
It all connects back.
It really does.
Yeah.
Whether it's our AEC services, our animation work, even our big healthcare solutions division. The core principle is similar. Find the root cause of the challenge and intervene at that design or governance level to create real, lasting, positive change.
Which kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What's that?
How many other industries could really benefit from this kind of upstream thinking, applying that same root cause analysis, that design level intervention that Reid talks about in the paper?
That's a great question. It's definitely not just about plastics, is it? It's a methodology, a way of thinking that could apply much more broadly.
Exactly. And it's probably worth mentioning this specific white paper, the Voiceless Stakeholder one. It's actually part of a bigger insights section on our website.
Oh yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah, a whole collection of resources. You can find really practical case studies, like how we automated invoice processing for a big manufacturer or helped a logistics company with EDI implementation, plus other white papers on things like CAD automation or long-term strategies using APIs.
Right. Different topics, but often applying similar analytical approaches.
Yeah, it really shows our commitment, I think, to sharing knowledge and showing how these ideas work in practice across a whole range of challenges.
Yeah, it's about empowering others with the same kind of deep insight Reid shares here and showing how this strategic approach can really tackle complex, multifaceted problems.
Okay, so let's try and recap our deep dive today. While we are, let's face it, a society driven by consumption and convenience, truly tackling huge issues like ocean plastic waste means we have to shift our focus. We need to move beyond just cleaning up the mess, however important that is, and really target systemic change. Change at the corporate governance level and critically at the product design stage.
It really boils down to a fundamental paradigm shift, doesn't it? From just managing waste after it's already been created
Reacting.
to preventing its creation in the first place,
Right.
right at the source. It's about giving a voice, like we said, to those currently voiceless stakeholders like our oceans and making those considerations absolutely central to every single design decision.
So thinking about that, what does this all mean for you listening right now? As you go about your day, maybe pick a common product in your life, something you use regularly, and just ask yourself, is there a voiceless stakeholder? Maybe it's the environment, maybe it's a community somewhere that might be missing from how that product was designed. And then think, how might that product be different? How could it be better if it were designed with that broader perspective truly in mind? If it was designed to prevent harm right from the start? Something to think about. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.